People of the State of Michigan versus Michael W. Moore, 2123651. Mr. Moore is here with his attorney, Mr. George, appearing by video. Mr. Gabriel is the prosecutor. It's set for a plea today. So, Mr. Moore, please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Mr. Gabriel, what's the offer?
Your Honor, the offer made by our office is that Mr. Moore can enter a plea of guilty to count 1, carrying a concealed weapon, that being a knife, count 3, fleeing from a police officer in the 3rd degree, because there was an accident, and count 4, operating while intoxicated, first offense. In return, we will dismiss count 2, that being carrying a dangerous weapon with unlawful intent.
Mr. George, is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Mr. Moore, the offer is that you plead to 1 count of carrying a concealed weapon. That's a felony, punishable by up to 5 years, and or a fine or a fine of up to $2,500 and mandatory forfeiture of the weapon. Count 3, fleeing and eluding in the 3rd degree, which is a felony, punishable by up to 5 years, and or a fine of up to $1,000, and the Secretary of State would suspend your driver's license. And operating while intoxicated, first offense, a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days and or a fine of $100 to $500, up to 360 hours of community service, vehicle immobilization mandatory with any prior, cost of prosecution, reimburse the government for emergency response and expenses. They would dismiss the charge of possession of a dangerous weapon with unlawful intent. Is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, sir.
Are you currently on probation or parole?
Yeah, I'm on probation in Indiana.
Okay. Were you on probation in December of 2020?
No.
Okay, so you don't need to worry about that being a probation violation. All right, so how do you plead then to the charge of carrying a concealed weapon?
That was a hunting knife, and it was just stuck in between the seat, so it didn't get stolen from my house. I've had a lot of stuff stolen. I had a knife there, but it wasn't my intention to use it to harm anyone.
That's why they're not charging you with that charge. They're charging you with carrying a concealed weapon, which in the state of Michigan, it's illegal to have a firearm or a dangerous weapon inside the body of a car hidden. So keeping a knife between the seat cushions is the charge of carrying a concealed weapon. So you're pleading guilty to that?
Yes.
Okay. Count 3, fleeing and eluding in the 3rd degree. How do you plead to that?
Guilty.
And count 4, operating while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead to that?
Guilty.
Now, has anyone promised you anything else to get you to plead?
No, sir. I do need help. I apologize. I don't want to live in jail.
Okay. So you're looking for some help with these issues, some treatment. Okay. Has anyone threatened you in any way to make you do this?
No, sir.
You're doing this of your own free will then?
Yes.
You understand that if I accept your plea, you're not going to have a trial and you're not going to have the rights that you would have had at trial. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So you understand you're not going to have a trial and you'd have rights at trial if you went. Those would be the right to be tried by a jury, to be presumed innocent until proved guilty, to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you're guilty, to have the witnesses against you appear at trial, to question the witnesses that appear against you, to have the court ordering witnesses you have for the defense to appear at trial, to remain silent during the trial and to not have that silence used against you, and to testify at trial if you want to testify. You understand you're giving up all those rights?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that if your plea is accepted, you may be giving up the right to appeal certain issues that would otherwise be appealable, and also that any review of your case would be by application for leave and not by right. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's go through what happened that night. We're talking about December 21st of 2020, and it says you were in the Constantine Township, the County of St. Joseph, State of Michigan. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
I think we're going to go backwards here because this is kind of the way it usually happens, but it's alleged that on that date, you were driving a motor vehicle on Miller Road. Were you driving a car on that date?
I was in my pickup truck. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And had you been drinking?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What were you drinking that day?
I had probably almost a pint of vodka.
Okay. Did they do a test of you?
Yeah, they took me right down there to the hospital and gave me a blood test.
Okay. Okay. Now they at some point it says that the police tried to get you to stop and you didn't stop. You kept going and it ended up in an accident. Did that happen?
I believe he rear-ended me to wipe me out. Yes, sir.
Oh, he rear-ended you to get you to stop, and that resulted in an accident. Okay, so you do agree that the police were trying to get you to pull over and you weren't stopping?
Yeah, I was trying to find her sister's address and I couldn't find it, and I should have stopped and I didn't, and I apologize for that.
And we already covered the other item. You had the knife, the hunting knife that you kept in the car. So it alleges that it was concealed or otherwise in a vehicle operated or occupied by you, a truck. So you had the hunting knife inside the cab of the truck. So that's that one. Are counsel satisfied that a factual basis has been established by the defendant's statement of facts?
Right.
Oh, what was the blood alcohol content? I'm sorry.
Right, it's 0.15, Your Honor, was the forensic lab result.
So are you satisfied?
With that, I'm satisfied, yes.
Are you the counsel aware of any other promises, threats, or inducements?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Court apply the court rule?
Court has.
Yes.
I find the pleas made are accurate, understanding, voluntary. There's a factual basis. Therefore, I accept the pleas. So, Mr. Moore, like I said, what we're going to do is we're going to send you that packet, and you need to fill that out completely and send it back in as soon as possible. You need to get your DNA taken at the Sheriff's Department. Just take this order that I'm sending you to the Sheriff's Department in Centerville. They'll take a quick swab from your cheek, and then make sure you show up for the interview. Now, at that interview, whether they do it on Zoom or whether they do it in person, it's extremely important that you tell them everything that's going on. So all those things that you were telling me about that you don't want to live, you want to make some changes and you need to make some changes, tell the agent about those so that we can get a correct recommendation for your sentencing, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Are you, are you sending me to prison or?
Oh, no, not for these charges, Mr. Moore. This is going to be a probation case with the possibility of some jail, maybe, but, it's going to be a probation case to deal with those issues that got you there in the first place, okay? But it's not a prison case.
I served 20 days in jail.
Oh, you already have? Okay,
Yeah.
all right. All right,
And I
well,
lost-
that's all those things are what comes out at the sentencing. See, the pre-sentence report is going to include everything. It's like a biography of you. It's like 20 pages long, and it'll tell me everything about your background. As long as you're honest with them, it'll tell you everything about your background, education, family, work, health, substance abuse issues, alcohol issues, all those things. And then from that, we develop a plan as to what to do at sentencing, either for you or to you, to make sure that this doesn't happen again, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, now the week before, I just want to say, once you get the report will be done the Wednesday of your sentencing date, and then Mr. George will review it with you before you come to court, okay?
Okay, can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I lost my daughter June 1st, and I've been having a hard time dealing with it. And They said it was suicide, but I think it was a murder. And it was my oldest daughter, 25 years old, and it's really laid heavy on me.
All right. Mr. Moore, you live in Howe. And so, you know, I'd refer you to the mental health department there in Howe to get any counseling. There should have already been somebody to talk to you. At least there would be in Michigan. I can't say that there should have been. I'm not sure about Indiana, but you know, in Michigan, when something like that happens, the victim witness unit goes out and talks to you and refers you to mental health workers, counselors, those kinds of things. Having had a very good friend do the same thing, you're in a time right now where you go through denial, and then you go through grief, and then you go through everything, and you're not alone, and it's not unique. It's normal. You're having feelings that people can help you with, and don't let those feelings overwhelm you. Talk to somebody, okay? And we can talk about more of this without